The Deficits Commission's recommendations drawing criticism from Democrats and Republicans alike. Will the Senate approve any of these proposals? Joining us from Capitol Hill is Senator Conrad of North Dakota. He is also chairman of the Senate Budget Committee. It is always good to have you with us, Senator. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. You're
on record as saying that this reveals just how difficult it is to put the nation on a sound fiscal course, that some of these proposals you agree with, some you strongly disagree with. So you framed my first question. What do you agree with, and what do you strongly disagree with?
I agree with the magnitude of the package, $4 trillion of debt reduction over the next 10 years. That's about what's needed to get us back on track. Look, I can quibble with individual parts of the package. One of the revenue options is, for example, to eliminate the mortgage deduction. I personally wouldn't go that far, certainly on primary residences. Eliminating the child care tax credit, eliminating it, I would vote for something less than that. But look, what is important here is the requirement that we act. We are now borrowing 40 cents of every dollar that we spend. And so what is absolutely essential is that we cut spending, that we raise revenue in sufficient combination to get us back on some sound course, so we're not borrowing all this money.
And Senator Conrad, what about the requirements when it comes to Social Security, raising the retirement age and also means testing it to some degree?
I think that's going to be required if we are going to prevent insolvency in Social Security. We are headed for insolvency, which is just a big word, meaning Social Security is going to go broke if we don't act. Look, increasing the retirement age by 1 year, 40 years from now, increasing it another year, 75 years from now, those are not draconian proposals. Those are the kinds of changes we're going to have to make.
And arguably not aggressive enough. Senator, what are the politics as you see surrounding this? I mean, what can get through and in what form? How do you do it? How does it function?
Simon, it is so hard to do this because on the right, they don't want to touch revenue. On the left, they don't want to touch entitlements. And I think what has been made clear to this commission is you really have to do both. This problem is so big. Look, we are headed for a debt, if we stay on the current course, of 400% of the gross domestic product of the United States. There is no serious economist that says that is a sustainable position. If it were to occur, the United States would become a second-tier economic power. We cannot permit that to happen.
Senator, obviously these are hard choices on both sides, but I would assume that you commend the commission for taking on some of those issues like the entitlements, like Medicare, like Social Security. If I could turn you to the mortgage deduction, though, there have been suggestions that perhaps it's anything above $500,000. Perhaps we phase out that deduction. Would you be in favor of either of those two components?
Yeah, look, there are three revenue options. One is a complete elimination of the mortgage deduction. A second is limit it to $500,000 on a primary residence. Something like that, I would be willing to seriously consider as part of a package. The incredibly important thing is that we have a total package that adds up and gets us back on a sound footing. And I am very prepared to cast very difficult votes on spending cuts and on revenue and on reform.
What about
fundamental
when it
tax
comes to
reform?
Oh, that's what I was going to get to. So part of this proposal is really flattening out the tax code, eliminating a lot of deductions, so it's just cleaner. Would you be in favor of that, which basically lowers tax rates pretty dramatically, and give it to us in the context of what's going to happen with the Bush tax cuts in the very near term?
I've said for a number of months that I would favor extending all the tax cuts for a couple of years and put tax reform front and center during that period so that we fundamentally change the tax code. I do think it makes a great deal of sense to broaden the base and reduce the rates, which is one of the key options that the chairman have put before us. Eliminate or dramatically reduce the tax expenditures, and then in exchange for that, a very substantial reduction in the rates for everyone.
Does that include the corporate tax rate? Do you agree with the 26% suggested corporate tax rate? Because there are those in corporate America who are looking for a corporate tax holiday or a 5% corporate tax rate.
We clearly need to reduce our corporate tax rate. We have, as you know, the second highest nominal rate in the world, in the developed nations. And so if we're going to be competitive, we need to bring that rate down. But we also have to pay for all of this. And so that's why a package is so important.
Senator, thank you. Pleasure to have you with us.
Good to be with you.